Okay, we're calling the meeting, Hadley Select Board meeting for April 2nd to order. With me this evening, I have Amy Parsons, Jane Nevinsmith, myself, Molly Keegan, and Randy Iser. David Phil is not going to be able to participate tonight due to a work commitment. Okay, in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022, signed by the Governor on February 15th, 2022, I announce that this meeting of the Select Board is being recorded by Hadley Media, the Select Board's office via Zoom, and ask if there is anyone present who is also recording this meeting. Appears that no one else is recording, so please let the minutes reflect that no one else has indicated they're recording the meeting. Okay. All right, so we have 3 appointments this evening. We're going to start with our first appointment. We have Scott McCarthy. I don't see Susan. Hi.
Susan's online.
Oh, there she is. I'm sorry. Espo. Okay. And Sue Kowalski, our town collector. And the discussion is going to be on water and sewer enterprise fund rates, of restructure and standpipe policy. So Scott, do you want to start?
I'll start with the standpipe policy. So as you all know, we have a couple different water standpipes in town that, you know, mostly they're for agricultural use throughout the growing season. So we put meters on those standpipes, and, you know, the people that are using them, it's on the honor system. And, you know, they, you know, hopefully are watching what they're using and report back to us. So the whole thing, like in the springtime, we'll put these meters out and the agricultural community uses them. In the fall, we take them back. And then the office will send out letters to the community that may or may not be using these standpipes for estimates of their use. And then we get those estimates back, and then the staff creates invoices and bills them out. So it's a very complex project to even do this. But in the last couple of years, we're having trouble with the usage. In 23, we're about 50% short what was taken and what we received in revenue. And in currently in 24, we're still waiting, but we're currently about 25% short on what was used versus what we're getting back in revenue. So it's we're losing water revenue with these honor system standpipe meters.
Do you know roughly how many there are?
2, one on Stockbridge Street and one on Railroad.
Is there any way to put, I'll say it simply, a credit card reader on the meter so that people can, or an ID card?
Well, you can do anything. It's just a matter of how much you want to spend to do that. Equipment like that is very costly for the little bit of money we get out of it. So.
So how, I know, like when we say like 50% or like being 25%, like how much is that in a dollar value?
So the rate is $3 and change right now for agricultural rate, but I'd have to give you all the gallons and stuff. So there's not a lot of money in it to begin with. And then the procedure, especially with the office staff of it, we're really, I would say we're losing with the man hours that it takes to do all the mailings, postage, everything that goes along with it. I don't think we're not even breaking even, especially with the loss of revenue.
Has there been any conversation with the impacted parties?
No,
Or?
no, but we had internal conversations over it, and we had a couple ideas of what we would like to propose. I know, you know, one is obviously do away with the standpipes altogether. I don't think that's a good idea. I think we're not out to, you know, harm the farming community or cause them any problem. The number two, which I kind of like, is treat it like kind of like a hydrant meter. You know, X farmer would request that meter be put out and they're basically responsible for it. The water that comes in and out of that meter, that's up to one person to be responsible for.
No, in scenario 2, would they be able to shut it off?
Well, so yes, obviously there's valves and stuff there,
Mhm.
but it's nothing that can't be tampered with. That's another thing, because I looked into this a little bit. Well, what's the backstory? What happened years ago? Well, we used to give out keys. Okay, then somebody forgets their key, so they pry the lock off and it goes away. Or they take a wrench and take the security nut off and use a wrench to turn it off and on. So there's just, the list goes on, I guess, of ways around any kind of security measures. It's this, we've caught landscapers in there filling water tanks for hydro seeding, etc. It's a real loose situation.
And just the reason that this is coming up, it's been something like you're alluding to the fact it's been a problem and kind of in the background.
Yeah.
But the reason in particular it's coming up now is because of the situation we have with water and sewer rates.
Yes.
And we're trying to do everything we can to plug every hole that might be out there, just like we did years ago when we had the unaccounted for water, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
And that took like a better part of a year and a half trying to find broken pipes and all sorts of things going on. So again, we're not just,
Right.
it's not punitive, it's just,
Yeah.
it impacts everybody.
Yep.
I mean,
So,
I was gonna say, I'm most amenable to 2 because, but again, we should probably talk to the affected parties because option 3, it could be good revenue to the town, but if I was a farmer, if I was a vegetable farmer, because I'm not a vegetable farmer. We pay livestock year round. But I think of a growing season, right? Conservative 80 days, 120. So $100 a day, that ends up being like $12,000.
yeah, no, I understand that. And obviously, if we were gonna put the meter in and out every day, or however you look at it, that's labor on us, whatever, just like a hydrant meter. If a contractor requests a hydrant meter, we go out in the morning, we put it on a fire hydrant, and we tell them our normal day is 3:00. If you need it after 3:00, you're paying the associated rates with that. It's just obviously, the labor costs money.
And your guys don't have time to be fiddling with that every
Right.
day.
And
It's just,
yeah, and like I said, I don't think anyone wants not to have these, but we need to figure out how to do it where we're not losing revenue and we don't have this major paper thing that we're doing and costing ourselves a lot of man hours chasing this down, because then, just in general, like X farmer comes in the other day. Well, I don't remember how much I used. It was a long time ago. Okay, but that's kind of the things we're up against. I just,
Well, especially during all the droughts that we have, someone filling their pool out of it is, not exactly
That's not
something,
cool.
that's not something that we.
yeah,
want
because we
people
get
to
the
do either.
occasional call that, somebody was underneath the standpipe. Well, can you give us more information? And there's not much to give.
Yeah.
In the past, we did have reputable people call landscapers. Can I buy water from the standpipe?
Mhm.
Most definitely. This is the rate. Tell us, what we use, bring us some, a check.
Mhm.
And some of them do,
Mhm.
but most people, don't.
Did you want to say something before I call on Wally? Okay. Wally, did you want to ask a question or say something?
I just wanted to say, Scott, would it be easier if you just build one person and let that person?
Yeah,
Sounded like what you were.
yeah, so that's, I didn't want to call you out on this situation, but
Makes sense.
yeah, so like. Say the Stockbridge Street thing or whatever.
Yeah.
If you wanted to take full responsibility over it and we send you the bill at the end of the season, and then if you let X farmer use it, let them reimburse you. And we really want one person of contact with this and one responsible, reliable party that's gonna be, you know, for the
Why are we
payment.
trying that with you?
I was just gonna say, we try option two, right? See if
Yeah.
it works, and if it goes well, then.
Set up
we're
a
good. If
trail
it
cam.
doesn't, Yeah,
So who would be
There's no
the
secret to
railroad
what that is.
street?
Excuse me?
Who would be the railroad street person? He's obviously a Stockbridge bird.
Oh,
No, I'm not adding that. No.
yeah.
does it matter, Jane?
Are you willing to be
Yeah.
the North Hadley guy,
For
Walter?
sure.
All right, so any further discussion on the standpipe? It sounds like, because I know we have other stuff to check out too.
No, I'm good with what we're talking about. It makes perfect sense.
Want to make a motion?
I make a motion to allow whoever who's gonna do this. Who's gonna do the billing?
Oh, we'll do it in my office, yeah.
All right, so allow the DPW to choose a farmer per standpipe to be wholly responsible for the water usage for the next year, see how it works.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Randy, seconded by Amy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Wally.
Yeah. Okay, next topic is sewer impact fees. Is that you too,
Yeah,
Scott, or is it? Okay.
And the sewer impact fees, the restaurant, there's two, there's a restaurant line and a fast food line. And we're trying to figure out what the difference is between the two. And I don't think there is one. So we would like to request to just make turn the restaurant and food and fast food into one item, and it would be the 1550 times a number of seats times 30 gallons.
Was it a different calculus?
Yeah, the fast food was seats times 10. And
Just a consolidation of
Yeah.
the way that they calculate it,
Mhm.
you know, different places that come in. The food comes out pretty fast, but they might consider themselves a restaurant, so let's just make it easy.
Yes. Anything further for discussion on that?
Are you worried they might
Yeah,
contest
over.
it? The fast food restaurants? Well, no, I was just gonna say, do you think that the fast food might contest it because before it was number of seats times 10 versus 30 and most people don't sit and eat at a fast food restaurant?
Well, I think Scott and I had a quick conversation about this, and maybe I don't know if it was a different conversation, but oftentimes those places are actually used for their facilities.
People
on
go
top
in.
of
Yeah.
just the food, so they actually sometimes use more
Okay.
than a regular restaurant.
They also
or at
have
least the food.
kitchens.
Right, and they're probably actually using more to produce more in a shorter time.
Creating more food, they're using more water, I'm sure.
Is that the only change being?
yeah, that's the only change on the sewer impact rates. It's just the combination of the fast food and restaurant.
Okay. Anyone want to make a motion?
I think we accept this sewer impact fee rate schedule.
Second.
Your motion made by Jane, seconded by Randy. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. Scott, you want to stay right there and do the DPW departmental update?
Sure. So,
Make sure you leave time for.
yeah, so I'll start with the highway department. We went out in this winter 23 times for snow and ice operations. We removed the fuel tanks at the DPW yard. Yesterday, we finally removed the fuel tank at the Russell School. 234 Middle Street. The house that we bought has been fully cleaned out and ready for its next step. Last year, obviously we paved and crack sealed. I was out a couple weeks ago at Randy looking at some paving sites. So we decided the first round of paving this year is going to be happening hopefully later this month. Newton Lane, Breckenridge, Stockwell Road, and the first section of Cummins Road. So that'll be happening. Hopefully, we're on the schedule for later this month, weather permitting. That may change. And we need to get on the schedule to do some maintenance crack sealing, and I haven't done that yet, but that's needs to be done. We just recently got done mowing the dike again for its annual mowing, and we started doing some preventive maintenance up there, a little bit of animal hole filling and et cetera, and some things that go along with the hazard plan for the dike. We are applying, the deadline's Friday again for the MVP grant for the East Street culvert. And we are applying for a ditches grant survey conjunction with Hatfield. We're partnering up on it. So we're going to look at the ditches. Complete streets is moving along well. Last week I took the mandatory training. So we were able to apply for the $38,000 assessment money. So that was submitted. So that's moving forward pretty good. And, our goal with that is to get the 500,000 after we do the assessment for construction funds. A couple weeks ago, there'll be more to come on this. I was with Randy and Mike and some guys from the state and looking at our dams around town, the low impact dams for the old reservoirs. Like I said, that's more to come on that. And I submitted for a grant from the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission for the bike and safety study, pedestrian safety study. And we were chosen to have Bay and Middle Street intersection looked at through a grant to see what can be done there as far as better signals or, different traffic island or whatever. So we were awarded that grant. And other than highway department, just kind of business as usual. We're just they're doing their thing every day.
Anybody have any questions for Scott?
No, but people keep telling me how nice our roads are compared to everybody else around.
We're trying.
So I'll give an example. Friday midday, a dead tree fell in the road right by my house. And the crew came and cut it up, chipped up what they could, brought out one of the new pieces of equipment with a nice little grapple hook on it, picked up the logs, put them in the truck, and off they went, cleaned up the road. It was beautiful.
Thank you. So update with the sewer department and wastewater treatment plant. So the asset management grant was completed a short time ago. We're still weeding through that to kind of get our bearings on where we go next. Down in the basement of the wastewater plant, we currently replaced the last flow meter down there. Every meter in the basement has been replaced. Electronic meters, we got rid of all the analog meters down there. So everything is to the newest technology available at the plant. Another project we did at the wastewater plant, all the old chlorine pumps, we replaced all them to, the latest and greatest pumps. A new addition to the wastewater plant. We never had a meter watching the water exiting the building going to the river. So if you have an overspill or something, we would never know what was happening. So we put in a meter and an alarm on that. So if there's a problem with the effluent going to the river, we're notified immediately. So that's a huge thing for us. I feel that we can monitor that. We upgraded 3 more pump stations and with internal components, level sensors and controls. We got rid of the old analog air pumps and controls that went around with that. At the sewer plant, we had a motor and a drive on one of the aerators. fail in the early part of the winter, so we had that. We did as much as we can in-house. We removed it all and a contractor rebuilt it for us. It's back up and operational. And one of the pumps down in the basement was in very bad shape for a very long time, and we got that apart finally, and it's out for repair. We should be getting it back. So we're trying to do upgrade and stuff within our budget down there and try to do as much help in-house as we can. So the nuts and bolts things we're doing ourselves and plugging away at it. Last year, we sleeve lined 1,000 feet of soil main, and we cameraed and flushed 3,000 feet. And that's sewer department. Other than that, just pretty good shape. Other than just, infrastructure, financial problems with that, but otherwise it's, doing good.
Okay.
Staffing it was full. We had a resignation again, but just it's going good though. Otherwise the new guys, they're very good. So water department, we're working on the water tank design, and we applied for a couple different grants for funding for that project. So that's in the works. The water department's asset manager grant, we just kicked that off. So that's moving forward. We were awarded a grant again for Mount Warner Wells to design the treatment plant down there. So that just got underway. So they're looking at the design of a treatment plant. They said we should be able to get it to about 50% design with this grant. Obviously, the problem right now with the water plant with the generator, we're still trying to parts seem to be a problem for that unit. And we're still trying to weigh that out and figure out what we can and cannot do. We're trying our best to repair it, and hopefully that's what still can be done, but it's not going very good or easy at the moment. But the cabinet and countertop and the plumbing project at the water plant was recently completed, and the lead service line inventory was also completed through we had a grant for that. And on the lead service line, we're plugging away for some known issue spots that we have. So we're working on that as we can.
Is there any, as follow-up to that project, is there anything property owners need to be anticipating or aware of?
Well, everyone got their notices. I don't know if some people filled out the surveys or not, but I don't know what the current problems or the Washington funding and whatever, the whole project's kind of on hold because nobody knows where it's going because the funding got pulled for it. So there's no federal funding right now to decide which direction it's going. But I assure everyone in Hadley is drinking good, safe, potable drinking water.
How many houses do we have that have lead?
There is no houses with full lead service lines. There's goosenecks at the water main. That's years ago, they put a piece of lead to connect from the water main to the service line. And that's what we're targeting to get out of our system. But as far as full lead lines, there wasn't any on the report.
Great, thanks.
Building maintenance. As you know, last year we asked for a article to do something with the HVAC on the second floor. We had a couple different energy consultants come out and look at the project, and we weren't sure. And we did go out to bid on the project too, to look at it in a different way, the original way. And the bid prices came in astronomically over budget. So we looked at it again with another energy company, to do mini splits in every room upstairs. And it's a lot better project, and there's pretty good incentive on it, but we're $10,000 short from our article to to being able to do something with that, so. Something that we need to talk about to try to find $10,000 to do that project for the upstairs. And just building maintenance and all. We're doing what we can do with the funds we have. I know Gary's most of the time in reactive mode than proactive, but unfortunately, we're doing the best we can with the funds we have. And the cemetery division, there really not much report on that, but we did, there's an article coming forward for a fence at the old Hadley Cemetery. And we had some time and we removed the old fence to it was falling down anyway. So if we were paying a contractor to do it, would have cost us, money. So we did it ourselves in-house. So I'll call it construction ready if the town approves the project. So it's ready to go. And that's my report from the DPW.
Busy. Are there any, from a public service announcement standpoint, are there any things that people in town are either complaining about or doing that you want to highlight?
There's always, so I noticed right now on Middle Street, we pick up sticks. Like if your branch falls off the town's tree or whatever, you bring it to the road, we pick up the piles of sticks. Now we're starting to get piles of grass thatch from people raking their lawns and all that kind of stuff. We don't pick up lawn waste or yard waste. So they're sitting there. Haven't really made a decision yet what we're gonna do with it, but it's just one of those things that our time is limited. And what do you want us? Do you want us fixing potholes in the roads or picking up yard waste? And then the yard waste, we don't have a spot to get rid of it. That's another thing, but I would ask the folks in town, if you do live against an agricultural ditch, be very careful what you're disposing on your property in those ditch lines, because I've noticed where we get complaints that a lot of the flow issues are kind of self-inflicted by people putting debris, downstream, and it backs it up. But, other than that, we field the calls as they come in the best we can and try to help out, everyone in town on an equal level. If you have a problem, we can help you. We try to.
Yeah, I have to say, personally, mostly I get people expressing appreciation for the work that our DPW does. So, especially like Jane said, it's good to be sandwiched between Northampton and Amherst. So,
And then obviously the unknowns, like that situation on East Street that you called me about, if you have a problem, please reach out. It may or not be ours, but sometimes we find a buried treasure that, like that catch basin was totally buried. No one knew it was there until the resident called. Yeah.
Good.
So now hopefully, the flooding issue will go away.
Yeah.
So like I said, don't hesitate to call us and we'll do our best to help you if we can.
So is there a way we can put out some kind of an announcement or saying the town does not pick up yard waste? Just in general, because some people who may not know, they see other people doing it and they do it and there's no.
That might be something we could put on the.
I can do a town news alert, put it on the front page.
Yeah, that would be good.
Scott, can you help me with just make sure I have the language right tomorrow?
All right. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
We'll see you later. Okay, our next appointment is the Agricultural Commission. We've got Matt Kusha here tonight. Amy noticed I pronounced them.
Okay, well, hello, everyone. Just wanted to give a brief update on the Agricultural Commission and what we've been up to. When we were last here, I think October of 23, we were kind of looking for a little bit of direction, still trying to get our feet under us a little bit, things of that nature. in the year and a half roughly since that time, we have started getting our feet under us. We reorganized our structure a little bit, our board, and Wally Sykowski is now our chair, which is fitting because he's very tied into the agricultural community, has perspectives that I may not have when I'm off at work at the university, things of that nature. And we've been able to hold a few meetings and really kind of establish what we're about, what we're trying to accomplish. I know in that October meeting, we listed that we were looking to kind of be a voice for farmers. Over the past year and a half, we've received emails from farmers who have had questions or residents who have had questions on various things, a lot of which can be answered in the nuances of the right to farm bylaw. So we've been able to provide support in that manner. And we recently had a farmer meet with us, had an agricultural project that he was thinking of, wanted to run it by us and get our thoughts on it, see if there was anything we could help with, things of that nature. So we met with him and he was able to, I think he's still in the process of getting the structure that he's thinking of approved, but we were able to have a good conversation, figure out agriculturally what he's trying to do and things of that nature. Going forward, we're looking to continue to be a resource. We're working on basically a best practice FAQ kind of document that can be put on the website that'll just maybe help townspeople answer basic questions for people, like just various things related to the right to farm bylaw or resources to MDR, things like that. I think that'll be helpful and it'll help keep our presence active in town. That is one of our active goals for this upcoming year, to continue to be a presence in town. And so on that thought, we welcome any board or anyone to let us know if there's anything that has an agricultural angle or influence to it. And if you need to work with us or want our opinion on something, as we are an advisory board to the select board, please feel free to include us. I know we just kind of proved that point tonight with the standpipe
Exactly.
issue. So we welcome more of those conversations. And going forward, we're looking to continue to kind of be that sounding board and that resource for the town. We know there's a lot of resources that farmers have, and residents and farmers are like pull from various resources like Farm Bureau, CISA, but we want the town to know that we're here as a resource as well and willing to and able to help town people and select board on agricultural issues. And we've determined that we're going to be meeting at least twice a year. So we're looking to stay active, and I think we're on decent footing at this point.
Good. And Matt, I mean, I would just say it goes both ways too. If there's something that you hear that the select board's talking about and you think you should be engaged and we haven't reached out to you, it's probably not intentional, might, I'm sure everybody here would be very happy to be on the receiving end of it. Hey, we heard you're putting that on an agenda. We'd like to participate too. So,
Jane, question to all committees, where are you storing your data?
Oh, yes, we've been asking all of the various volunteer boards and committees when they come in front of us to give their updates. Do you have records, like historic records or anything for the Agricultural Commission? And if you do, are they in a barn, or are they at town hall, or are they somebody's hard drive? Or
we do have some historical documentation. When I started on this board back in 2014, I checked the mailbox at town hall and discovered close to 8 years of documents, as the board was kind of dormant, I found out to that point. So I have much of that correspondence in our meeting minutes and our records. I keep in my home study at the moment. So we do have record of them and everything.
okay. And if that's something, one of the things we're trying to do is have those find their way to the town, you know, basically through Jennifer? Is that something you could coordinate with her?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
When do you anticipate your next meeting?
Believe we discussed, what was it, October, Wally? Mid to late October, I believe, is what we said. We didn't pick an exact date. We want to get past the harvest. Harvest is a tough time for farmers to meet. So getting close to that frost area is when we're anticipating that next meeting.
Just for you vegetable folks, not
Yeah.
corn
Yeah.
season.
If someone had an issue that they would like to run by the Ag Commission Board, how would one do that?
Yeah, we have an email that is on the town website. I'm the one who monitors it. So when an email comes in, I'll generally forward it to Wally, forward it to the commission members, and we'll see if it warrants, if it's just kind of like a question that can be answered, or if it warrants an actual meeting. The issue that we were going over with a farmer recently was pretty much such a case. I believe he contacted Wally first, and then we said, what do you think? And we said, we should call a meeting, invite him in to go over what his project is and see what he needs from us.
Were you gonna complain that the tractors are too loud at 7 a.m?
No, I was going to say, I have an issue that I would like to bring before you. I'm on the bylaw committee, and there's something that we're discussing that I think would be appropriate to talk to you folks about. So I will find your email address on the town website and email you, and hopefully we can get together relatively soon.
Okay, yeah, and we sometimes hold, we can hold emergency meetings as well.
All
So
right,
we coordinate.
Okay, anything else for Matt or Wally?
Jimmy's got something.
Oh, Jimmy, yeah.
Are you available during the day?
I work at the university full
The
time.
reason I asked you, he just mentioned the bylaw committee. We would love to have you come to a bylaw committee meeting to talk about exactly what Randy just said. So we can tell you some of the concerns and the ideas, and you can give us feedback. If we meet, the next meeting will be 2 weeks from yesterday at 9 o'clock in the morning. We meet at the North Hadley Fire
15.
Station.
Okay, I'll take a look at my work schedule, and I'm sure.
I'll email you the next meeting, the agenda, if you can make it, great.
Okay, yeah, and I'm sure someone from the commission might be able to make it if I can.
And you guys do Zoom too, right? Do you have Zoom capability for your meetings?
But
Zoom?
No,
No Zoom
no,
for
that is
them?
not on Zoom, that is all live.
they're recorded, but they're not Zoom.
Okay.
There's no. I don't know what the fire station has for Zoom. I couldn't tell you.
I was just gonna say, if you couldn't physically be there.
Yeah.
That would be. I don't know if Alex can answer that question or not. We do, it is, we'll take it, we'll address it. You can do Zoom at the fire station. You can do Zoom at the fire station. You can do Zoom at the fire station? Okay.
Randy, I want the team.
Okay. All right, thanks, Matt.
All right, thank you.
Matt,
Thank you very much.
Okay, I know we said 6:45. Are you for you guys? Are you?
Neil's not there.
There may or may not, we may or may not have a forum. Yeah, you have to be there, right? There's no.
Okay, so I'm just gonna keep going a little bit and then.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we have the consent agenda. Tonight's consent agenda, we have approval or request for approval of the minutes from March 5th, 19th, and 26th of 2025. We have use of the town commons, a request by the First Congregational Church for a sunrise Easter service, April 20th, 2025 at 6:30 a.m. We have a film permit being requested for Irving Berlin's View of the East River by Joe Films with the director Sarah Knight. And then we have a Class 1 auto dealer's license being requested by Belize, doing business as Belize Subaru of Hadley. Anything we need to take out?
Sarah Knight is here from Joe Films. If y'all have any questions for her, I would ask that you make this contingent upon conditions from the fire chief, building inspector, or the police chief. I hadn't heard back from anybody about concerns, but just to be safe. And if you'd like to ask Sarah any questions, she's here and you can, and then I can tell you about Belize after that.
Yeah, so let's pull that just so we can allow Sarah to give us some information.
The Belize Auto, they are changing the name officially from Steve Lewis Subaru to Belize Subaru of Hadley. So this is just a name change on an existing license.
Any questions or anybody want to make a motion to approve the other items?
I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda minus the film permit.
Second.
Motion made by Randy, seconded by Amy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. So Sarah, welcome. You want to tell us a little bit about your film project?
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I am making a narrative short film entitled Irving Berlin's View of the East River. I've been to your lovely town twice now. We just came out a couple weeks ago, and we are hoping to shoot one of our main scenes with 2 actors walking and talking up and down the beautiful Hadley Dyke Walk, and also to shoot inside and outside at a local house at 3 Middle Street, which we've already been in touch with the owner, and she is game to do that. And just as two little asides, we're going to be giving our 2 cast members gift baskets from the Hadley Sugar Shack, and our writer is an Amherst resident and actually has a plot in the old Hadley Cemetery, so we'll be a future resident.
I love the humor.
That's great. Thank you for the color behind the ask. Any questions for Sarah? If not, a motion.
I read her application. It all looks fine and wonderful. So I will make a motion to approve the film permit.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Randy, seconded by Amy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good luck. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you so much. Have a good night. Bye.
Good weather.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. So public comment, we are allowing for public comments. Is there anybody here this evening who would like to exercise their right under that agenda item?
Nobody's indicating.
Okay. Okay, so I think we're pretty close here. We're going to jump to the new DPW building, and then after that, I'm going to come back to the tapestry. So Jimmy, is that you? So this is old business item 5.3.
All right. Good evening. This is a joint meeting of the
Wally's on the committee? Wally's on the committee?
Yeah.
So Tommy's online, so I believe you have.
Tommy's on too.
Andy, so you have a quorum. You need to call it to order, please.
Okay, we have a quorum of the DPW Building Committee. Call the meeting to order. And this meeting is being recorded. Members in attendance are Randy Iser, myself, Jim Maximowski. I believe Tom Quinlan is on. Yeah, there he is. Walt Sykowski, David Phil, and Scott McCarthy. In our last meeting, we presented the 19.65 million, and the select board has some concerns with it. I went back to the architect and see what possibilities are to make the building less expensive, less costly. I went back to the architect and requested a bunch of stuff. And unfortunately, the architect was on vacation overseas, and he just came back yesterday morning, whatever it was. So between being jet lag of 12 hours and being hurried because he had an appointment this morning for something else, so he didn't have a lot of time to put stuff together. So we kind of hurriedly put some things together. So I'm going to explain a few things as we're going through. Jennifer has some slides, and basically the original building was roughly 23,000 square feet, had the complete office space, 2 maintenance bays, a drive-through wash bay, and a number of storage bays. So it was requested to make it someplace closer to $10-12 million price range. He have made a couple of options. He cut off could you put up the first slide, Jennifer? I'm not sure which one it is.
So
That one.
this one,
That's good right there. So basically, I forgot my pointer. But if you can draw a line across the upper portion, he cut off that whole, no,
Sorry, upper
that's okay.
portion.
That's fine. That's right there. He cut off that whole line right there. So there's only the offices, two storage bays, one maintenance bay, and the wash bay. And there's drawings that show that. So if you could go to the next slide, that was the original $19.65 million building. And then he came up with these two. Zoom out just a little bit. The top one, they all have offices, one maintenance bay, which is if you on the extreme left is the drive-through wash bay.
Mhm.
Next to that, in both pictures, drawings, is the maintenance bay. Then the middle bay, you can see either there's one or two storage bays. And the offices are still complete on the right-hand side. He kind of hurriedly put this together. Those are good drawings, don't get me wrong. But what he hurriedly put together was a price estimate. And I think he forgot when he put the price estimate together that he included end of February estimate, the 20.25 million included everything. The design fees, the OPM fees, and the complete building. And it was 20.25. He gave us some prices this morning, and he must have forgot he included the architecture, or what they call soft cost, in both of them. So all of the prices he gave, I believe, are $2 million over what he meant to be. So
Over or under?
over.
Over.
So these prices in yellow, no, I'm sorry, the prices in red should all be approximately $2 million less. And I'm just going to quickly go over this. The original building was, at our last meeting, 19.65. The revised building down with two storage bays, according to this chart he gave us, is $14 to $15 million. And he says, once you decide tonight which option to go with, I can work up a much more better price detail for the town meeting and even for your next select board meeting. He said that the two storage bay building should be $14 to $15 million. I believe because it included the soft cost twice, the actual price should be 12 to 13 million. The single storage bay building, according to this, is 13 to 14 million. But if you subtract the soft cost, which I think is the correct thing to do, but I'm when he mentioned this afternoon, that's why I'm saying I think I'm kind of wishy-washy here, because when he
We
mentioned,
can see what you're saying. So in option 3, hard costs are 19.5 and then adding 2.5.
right, that's why I'm saying when he
Yeah.
put those numbers out today, I didn't really want to question because we're getting into so many other things.
Mm.
I says, I thought that was included. I went home and I looked at, he gave us a very detailed estimate on the end of February. And it was very clear that the $20.2 million included the so-called soft costs. That's why I'm saying I believe all of these should be maybe $2.4 million less. However, right now, that's not really the point. So with that said, that includes a new salt shed. We're still debating. There's a few options on a salt shed. We're still reviewing that. We've got our pretty much a mindset on that. After this reviewing, I mean, we would love to go with a $19.65 million building because that includes everything the DPW could need for the next number of years. However, reality says that probably wouldn't pass. Might pass town meeting, but I doubt it would pass the ballot box. So after much discussion, we voted that we would recommend that the 2 storage bay project be put on the warrant. And according to this, it's 14.5, but I believe a better estimate would be 12 to 13 million. And if that's what the select board decides to do tonight, then the architect will go back and give a much better, more precise estimate for either the next select board meeting and certainly for town meeting.
I
So
have a
that's
quick
the-
question. Did we, so I know that the design fees, wasn't that already voted and allocated?
No, we
That
we
wasn't-
voted $225,000 to do a schematic design. That's what all of this is. And
Okay,
at the end of this town meeting, both the OPM and the architect are done. So if it doesn't pass and there's more work to be done, we'd have to go back to town meeting for more money to do any kind of architectural design or whatever we want to do.
and the amount that we already voted on and allocated, is that included in here or
No.
removed? Okay,
That is not
So this
included
is
because
what-
that's already been spent.
okay.
Okay, now, a few things about this. I'm sure most of you realize that we need the offices, we need the wash bay, we need the maintenance bay. Storage bay, absolutely too. If we had to get rid of that, we would probably be a little bit up the creek, maybe more than a little bit. Reason for the wash bay, we currently wash trucks outside. That is not environmentally correct. And it's only a matter of time before our DPW or DEP or wherever, not DEP or environmental comes down and says, you must do it inside or stop washing. Currently, we have one not so good restroom for the entire facility. It's a restroom, it's a locker room, it's got a little heating area outside of it. And the various government entities that have viewed our facility have said, okay, you're looking at something different, something better. If you, long as you keep moving and you get something like that approved, we'll work with you. But if this gets turned down, we might be in a bit of trouble with various government agencies for not complying with OSHA, and I don't know who else. So really doing nothing may not be an option.
So with option 4, because I think that's the one that you're looking at or suggesting, is there, because I mean, essentially option 4 is just option 3 without the additional piece on the back. Is there a possibility, if the town has money, 10 years down the road
Yes,
to make that
this
addition?
facility, I'm sorry, this facility is specifically designed to be expanded.
Okay,
And Amy, just so you understand, the two options that were on the screen before, they are exactly the same, except in one, there are 2 storage bays in the middle of the building, and in the other one, there's 1 storage bay. Both of them do not have that back lower piece that
yeah,
was on the original.
right, but that was my question, is that we could add
Yeah,
on in the
correct.
future. if we-
yes.
Cause I'm partial to option 4 myself.
So I just, Scott, I know, so the Gazette, when the Gazette ran an article, I just wanted to give you the opportunity to correct, there was some misinformation in the.
Yeah,
Gazette article.
there's been a lot of talk with this committee and meetings and stuff about, and the word OSHA is coming up. Well, first of all, we're not governed under OSHA. We're governed under Department of Labor Standards, not two different entities, 2 different things. So OSHA, it's not even in our playbook.
Mhm.
I stand
2,
corrected.
there are, as best of my knowledge, there is currently no OSHA or DLS, sorry, violations. The lifts are inspected, chain falls are inspected, and the building is within good working order.
Yeah.
As far as any violations, I am not, or problems with that safety standards, I'm not aware of any.
Right, but you agree that
Right,
the new building, obviously, we're trying to prevent anything
Right.
from coming at us down.
I never mentioned there was a safety standard with any of the equipment. That was
Yeah,
not,
no, I just because there was some confusion after the Gazette ran that article, so.
yeah.
So was that like conservation and environment as opposed to OSHA that were,
It was,
who's requiring the wash bays? I guess.
That's-
The Department of, that's DEP, that's a
DEP.
kind of a
yeah, they're
standard.
not requiring it right now. And I said that down the road, and we don't know if that's going to be a few months or a few years, but it's not in the near distant future. there will certainly be something that says no longer washing outside.
Yeah, so we're trying to get ahead of it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because if they come down and say no washing outside, I mean,
What are we gonna do?
that's gonna be really tough on that crew, because in the middle of winter, they wash all the salt and everything else off, and your trucks are gonna deteriorate.
Mhm.
Cause there's no wash facility around where you can drive a big rig, so they're all made for cars and pickups.
And Scott, with the redesign, obviously the downsizing, is there anything major from your standpoint that is being given up?
Well, obviously, I think everyone, wishes that, money wasn't an option and we
Right.
could build this great facility. We talked about this as a committee. I think something is better than nothing. And obviously we need to be, considerate of the people that are potentially paying for this.
Mhm.
And it's a lot of money. There's no question going for the whole perfect situations, a ton of money. I think what we're proposing is definitely a huge step in the right direction. Is it the final answer? Probably not. Down the road, whatever, you may want to do an addition at some point, but the design is capable to do an addition. So it's just one of those things that, money's a problem. We all know that. And we're trying to produce the best building we can for the residents of Hadley and something that the community can afford.
We had an interesting conversation today at our meeting and talking about, the big thing is trying to keep equipment inside, but warm. There's so many fluids in these vehicles that need to be at a certain viscosity for them to flow properly. And we can plug the engines in and keep the engine warm, but there's hydraulic pumps and stuff like that. And it can take, 45 minutes, an hour or more to get these things warmed up and ready to go. And if we have an emergency, that's really where we're trying to accommodate here is if there's an emergency, we'd like to be able to get there yesterday instead of tomorrow.
There's one more thing I wanted to mention, that town of Boxborough is similar in size to the town of Hadley for building a DPW facility. They just opened their bids last week. The facility is similar size to Hadley, similar estimated cost. Their bids, right now, contractors are hungry. For whatever reason, there's not a lot of work of this type out there. There's very few schools, very few big government buildings and so on and so forth. The bids came in over $2 million under the estimate. So now current environment is a excellent time to be going out for bids, because they anticipate there's not a lot of work right now being, even like the architect says in the OPM, the same thing. They look in the central register. There's very few requests for design services or building bids. There's just not much. And so the contractors are bidding to keep their crews employed. And so they're bidding accordingly. And so it is, I'm just saying it's a good time to be going out.
Interesting. So we could be benefiting from a potential recession.
I mean, it sucks because it's like we wanted option 3. Because you have the design fees and the OPM fees, and those are fixed costs, and it's gonna be, $2.5 million, whether you do the smallest size one or the largest size, but it's, we just don't have the tax base to.
So I just want to make sure. So we have a 13,300 square foot and a 15,000 square foot. Amy was saying she's leaning into the 15,000 square foot. Is that also what you were recommending?
Yeah, that's.
Option 4.
I believe it's option 4, the
Put it back in.
14 to 50, on the sheet it was 14 to 15 million, but I think that the price, he made the mistake. It actually should be 12 to 13.
And that might even be underbid.
Well, the thing is, we asked the architect that specifically, and he says,
Can't say that.
you really can't say that. He says, what you know, you can play all kinds of games on the bidding games, and that's just endless. But he says, what you want to do is get, you know, the 14 to 15 approved, or 13 to 15, 13 to 14 approved. And design according to that. And depending if you want to build it what you want and no extras, then that's what you would do. But if you want to, on a slim chance, let's say you've got 13 to 14. Well, then you start, I'm sure you're familiar with add alternates. You've been through the bidding, you've been through the estimating process. You can put an add alternate, a second storage bay. You can put, add this, add that. You know how that process works. So you may get a lot more for your money if we decide collectively, not just the building committee, this is a joint effort, not us, to go for a little bit extra, but still be within budget, because we're not gonna go over.
Okay, any questions? I definitely like this better than the last.
Well, realistically,
Yeah.
I'll be honest,
I move.
granted, everybody, 19 and a half million dollars, he would love to have that facility. Reality says, even if it passed town meeting, what are the chances of it passing the ballot box?
Better. It used to be.
No, this one has a decent chance of passing everywhere because it's needed. It's not by any stretch overly big, exorbitant, it's plain. And it gets everything that the DPW needs, well, not everything, but many things that the DPW
major.
needs today.
Yeah, the major boxes are being checked.
Okay, I move we recommend option 4 to the town in the warrant.
Okay, I'll second that. And I just want to ask, is there anybody else on the building committee that everything been characterized here? Any other points you guys want to make or? All good? Yep. And Tommy too? Yep. Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay, so motion made and seconded then for option 4 is presented. Well, to put the DPW building on the warrant, and again, the numbers need to be refined, right?
Yes, yeah, we'll, if you want, can I come back at your next meeting with the right numbers?
You have to.
We would love for you to do
Good.
that. Yeah.
It's the last one before town meeting, so yes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be great to have it before that.
yes, yeah.
Okay, so motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you so much for going back and doing the additional work. Thank you.
Yes.
I know it's hard, but it's reality, like you said. Yeah.
DPW Building Committee, motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion is, meeting is, thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, guys. Okay, old business item 5.1, the tapestry contract, so. Ben, is that you? You've got some company tonight? Okay. Hmm?
Susan's here. I don't know.
She's observing. Welcome. So, you want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Liz Wynot. I'm the Director of Programming of Harm Reduction at Tapestry.
Okay, Liz.
Good evening. My name is Pedro Alvarez. I'm the Director of Operations for Harm Reduction Services at Tapestry.
Good.
And Ben, the Director of Board of Health.
Okay. So, where we last left off on this is, Ben and, our police chief was the hat he was wearing that night, were making a recommendation on this contract, and there were a lot of questions, about it. So I think that's where we're jumping back into that. So specifically, I know there's a question about the contract, and how, this programming, if I can put it that way, or service would benefit, a broader, range of constituents, specifically the town of Hadley itself. So I don't know. You want to talk about what you've learned or?
Yeah, so I'll just kind of bring us up to where we are today. I reached out to Tapestry, to Liz, and asked to see if the contract can be updated. And that was she agreed, or Tapestry agreed. And additionally, they agreed to be here today to kind of explain what the services are a little bit better, as they are the ones that administer them. So for that reason, we have the Tapestry contract updated, but any questions related to it, I think would be better directed towards them.
Okay, I can start. Yeah, so Pedro and I were co-directors of the Tapestry Harm Reduction Services. And we're located in Franklin, Hampshire, and Hampden County. When I first started, I started at the Northampton Harm Reduction Program. I was an intern. I was getting my degree at UMass. And at that time, Northampton was the only city in Western Mass to have a syringe access program at the time. And then since then, so in the past 15 years I've been with Tapestry, there's been a lot of shifts with the opioid epidemic, overdose rates, and a lot of things that unfortunately I think have brought a new and different attention to the need to provide services to prevent overdose. And so that led to a lot of community networking in Western Mass and a lot of opportunities to offer our services, which when I started were pretty rare. And so now we operate in about a dozen communities in Western Mass. We have 6 stationary sites. Closest one here is in Northampton. And then we also have mobile services. We go to Amherst on a regular basis, as well as East Hampton and different places in the other counties. So our mobile services have really ramped up since COVID started, because that forced us to figure out how to reach people in a new way. So we have mobile vans. They're Ford Transit vans, and within them, we can provide almost all of the services that we do at a stationary site. And then we also have a cell phone number that people can call or text if they need services. So that's been developing and continues to grow, especially in the towns where we don't have stationary programs. And then in addition to that, I think we've always found it very important to collaborate with the community in different ways. Over the years, we provided a lot of education on naloxone, Narcan to different places related to public safety, universities, schools, in many, many different areas. And that's been one of the things that's one of the main services that we provide. And in addition to that, we're really good at reaching people who aren't accessing any other services. And often people that we interact with, it's their first time interacting with anything related to healthcare. So I looked at the data yesterday for Hadley. I was curious about how we've been serving people with a Hadley zip code in the past year. And I didn't write down the Pedro scratch.
Yeah, I don't know if you can read it. You want me to read it?
Well, I think I'm okay. So we've seen 143 unique people from Hadley with a Hadley zip code. And I found it interesting because about half of those that we see reported to be accessing services, naloxone, harm reduction materials for their peers. So that means that secondary distribution or people who use drugs come to Tapestry to get supplies, get services for people that they know that live in Hadley usually. So being able to come to Hadley, which we would serve the whole town. We'd want to collaborate as much as possible with all the different departments and residents. But I think coming here, it allow us to reach more people that we haven't. There's transportation issues, obviously, in Western Mass, and many different reasons, stigma, isolation, small town kind of being recognized. So we're always trying to figure out ways to meet people who aren't being reached in other ways by other services.
And just to expand on some of the services that we offer as well,
Yeah.
and some of the partners that we work with, we also provide post overdose work, where we team up with local police departments, recovery coaches, and do follow-ups to individuals that experience an overdose. Usually that's accompanied by a post-overdose engagement coordinator, and just doing some follow-up, try to connect the individual that experienced that overdose to the two services, whether that's treatment, recovery, harm reduction services. Whether we can't connect to the individual, we try to connect to that family nucleus as well, and provide the education on naloxone and overdose prevention, and educating people on how to respond to an overdose just in case that occurs. Here in Hadley, with some of the individuals that are walking into our brick and mortar sites and identifying with that, like the Hadley zip code, because we do collect like demographic information. Everything that we do is on a code-based system, so we protect the anonymity of the participants as well. We've distributed since March of 2024 to this year, we've given out 94 Narcan kits. These are to individuals that are utilizing our services, being educated on Narcan, and we distribute the Narcan kits to them after providing the education as well. Since 2016 here in Hadley till 2023, we don't have 2024 numbers yet. There's been 12 fatal overdoses occurred here in this community. And this is for a population that's less than 6,000 people. That's quite a lot. That's a staggering number for this community as well. So again, this is an opportunity where we can come in and provide some education. And this education, not only do we provide it to our participants or people that are utilizing our services or that family nucleus, we try to provide public education. We do a lot of events out in communities, try to provide some education just around that as well. And for us, that's a key component of the work that we do, is that relationship building in communities and working with community partners, working with healthcare officials, with law enforcement as well on these services. So we currently come into different colleges and universities throughout Western Massachusetts in the 3 counties that we're in, and provide naloxone education as well, and bring awareness to overdose prevention. We also work with the health departments, trying to connect folks to services as well, and really understand like that drug user health, for individuals that don't necessarily walk into other facilities to seek out those services, and try to make that connection for folks as well.
I know you were talking about the mobile truck. Now, is this, you're looking to create an office within the location, or would you be here with the mobile?
No, we're not looking to come in and create another brick and mortar site. We're looking to come in and just, come in on a mobile basis and provide those services. We do get numerous calls for in Hadley, but we're not approved to come in and provide those services here. So a lot of the times individuals are coming into Northampton, or our Holyoke location for some individuals, which is, they're more comfortable going there. So again, we're not looking to come in and do a brick and mortar site here. We're looking to come in just to an opportunity to kind of connect with the folks, connect with the community here as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think initially we had thought that it was going to be something like within the building. So I think there was a select board member and them plus me. We were just concerned a little bit about, people in town maybe not knowing, but if you have a mobile thing out there, it's going to be a little more welcoming for people that don't specifically live in the O'Connell Lodge area.
Yeah.
So that that was our thing. We're like, oh, I want to make sure that it's like welcoming enough. And so people don't feel like they have to go into a place that they don't know anything,
No, totally understandable. And
Yeah.
our mobile units are, it's a transit van. It's white. It has minimal logos on it. We don't understand that stigma is a real thing. We have a box truck that has our wrapping and our logos. pulling that up.
Stuff
and
in the
somebody-
back seat though,
Huh?
because I've seen a lot of stuff in the back seat when it goes by. Yeah.
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 It's full.
That's really.
Yeah, no, it's full. We do have the shelving back there. We're equipped to provide the services that we do in our brick and mortar sites in our Ford Transit van as well, you know. So again, we don't necessarily come in and be in an established building already. We're not looking to create another brick and mortar site. We're looking for an opportunity to kind of come into the community, engage with the community, and provide some education and some awareness on the and provide some harm reduction services.
Now, is it gonna be kind of on an as needed basis, or are you looking at scheduling, 4 or 5 days a month that you're gonna be here?
Yeah.
So it would be something that we'd be able to post somewhere so that residents.
No,
would
great question.
maybe know
I
about
think a
that.
combination of that. Definitely having certain days where we can come into the community and have that consistency with folks. That way they know, that way it's not a question of, are they here today? Do I have to call them? But we also want to provide the mobile services where they can call, which we do in other communities. We go into Belchertown, we go into Montague, we go into Amherst, and those are locations where we don't have brick and mortar sites, but we're on call. But we also have certain days where we're going in there as well, similar to what we do in East Hampton.
Another thing that we can also provide for the community is sharps pickup and disposal. So we'd be able to do that for any resident, including diabetics or anybody that uses syringes.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be particular to,
No.
so it could be anybody.
It could be anybody.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get calls from, individuals that, might be doing insulin or
Yeah.
need
need
to dispose of certain sharps, so.
Also in Belchertown, we installed a key, like a wall mounted kiosk, I think. I forget where it is, but staff go there whenever it's full and they'll empty it out and we'll dispose it. So that's one of the cost savings.
And it sounds like from what you're saying tonight too, I mean, you're emphasizing education. And Narcan and other people reaching out on behalf of whether it's a family member or a roommate or whomever it might be. That you're all about prevention too. You're trying to reach people before the ambulance call goes in, before the police get called.
That's right. And also infectious disease transmission is a big thing, of course, that we focus on. So sharing of syringes leads to hepatitis C and HIV. So we test for both of those and treat hepatitis C now. And then we also are able to test for gonorrhea, chlamydia, and syphilis and provide treatments. We're developing a branch. We have our sexual reproductive health clinics at Tapestry that have been long established. And we also have a newer mobile health programs with a clinician that specifically works with this population and works with our harm reduction offices. So we're also building that ability to provide low access healthcare.
I just had another question. So Hadley is kind of a more of a traditional type of town. And I think the perception is a lot about, okay, well, they're bringing in syringes. They're just giving all these drug use more syringes, and they're gonna give it to their friends. There's gonna be so much more drug use. Do you have some statistics or things that you can say here so that anyone at home can hear some statistics, and anyone that's a little worried about potentially more drug use in our town because of that?
Yeah, well, there's decades of evidence and a lot of evidence showing that it has a lot of benefits for the community. So people who access syringe access programs are about 3 times more likely to access treatment. It does have an effect, a positive effect on overdose and awareness and prevention methods. It has shown to not increase syringe litter. And there's a lot of other data. It's also very good for infectious disease and it just helps communities stay safe in that way.
And there's a level of humility going in.
Yeah.
To your services anyway, to get things that they need. So,
yeah. I forget what
And this money is coming from the opioid settlement fund, and we can't use it for anything else. Well, Mike has a program.
Yeah, but I think we've got the Board of Health and the police department saying they think this is a great use of those funds.
Yeah,
Right.
I completely agree. I'm actually looking forward to working with you folks, so long as this goes through. The opioid funding provides a really unique opportunity to get a little bit creative with remediation, education. And, you know, with our program, once we bring on our clinician, she'll be spread probably a little bit too thin to handle something like this on a full-time basis. So we're going to focus obviously on education, on you know, we can do Narcan kits and things like that. We won't be able to do needle exchange or anything. We can take sharps and things like that. So this is where it's kind of great that they can come in and provide the services that maybe we can't, and fill those gaps and really, you know, kind of work together to provide a really, you know, well-established, they already do this in many other communities, program for folks. I just think it's a
obvious.
step in the right direction. Like Jane said, it's earmarked money, but it's got to be used for this. So.
And it's obvious that because you have been around for a long time, there is a need.
Yeah.
So I move we accept this contract.
Well,
I had
just
a-
hang on.
yeah.
Just I want to say, Randy, do you have any questions or?
I was just gonna ask, you will be providing this service at the Econo, that's where you'll be set up at the Econo Lodge, or will you be able to go elsewhere in town?
We'll be able to go elsewhere. And again, so we'll advertise our services in a variety of ways. Like, we'll put that we could come to Hadley and provide services and like the naloxone kits, and we give out cards and we'll post information and do some media. And then it's also, I think, word of mouth will spread that we can go to people and reach different people in Hadley. And then again, we're very into providing education around naloxone, like responding to an overdose and things like that.
So one of the first things that I would have our individual do, our clinicians work with them on things like that. So you have that local scheduling option. So there'll be multiple places where, you know, we could have our clinician cards for, you know, folks that maybe don't want to go see a clinician who's embedded with police to a slightly different setting. We can certainly make that happen.
I have
Your education, is that on an individual basis, or do you do it into groups? I mean, do you go to schools, things like that?
Yeah, we do individual, we do groups, we go into, currently we're expanding some of that and entering high schools. And targeting like the senior classes, their health classes were coming in. First off, we'll start off with like the school nurses, provide the education there. They're requesting that we come into the senior classes, provide education there. The last two that we scheduled are in Minnetonka and Granby. We've done Long Meadow, we've done Westfield, we've done Holyoke, we've done Springfield, we've done Chicopee. In the communities we're already established as well. So we've done colleges and universities. We've worked with different communities where we're not necessarily in, but we've established and put up nalox boxes where there's public access to Narcan as well. Some communities around like Westfield and the hill towns, they put them on the town hall where it's accessible to folks. We understand that stigma is a real thing for some folks where they don't want to be seen talking to Tapestry because it's kind of like putting their business out there to everybody else. So putting these boxes up where they're easily accessible, people can just grab them as they walk by. And you know, we'll come up and fill them up. Once they let us know they're empty, we have like somebody at the town hall that monitors. If they need to be restocked, we come in and restock the boxes as well.
Amy?
Oh, I was gonna ask, I don't even know if it's a thing yet.
Yeah.
Or if it's a service that you offer, but like the ability for someone to be able to like test their own supply to make sure it's not there's not fentanyl in it. I mean, I know the Border Patrol has it, but
Yeah.
I would, do you?
Yeah, so some of the stuff that we do offer in our harm reduction supplies is fentanyl test strips. So we do distribute those in communities. Just as of late, there was an approval statewide for drug checking services.
Yeah.
Yeah, a law change where it makes it legal to offer drug checking services. We work with Brandeis University and the MADS team on drug checking services. So we have FTIR machines in our Greenfield, Northampton, and Holyoke locations right now. We're in conversations with the Department of Health and Human Services in Springfield to acquire a machine from the city of Springfield to offer those services in Springfield as well. So we can test for individuals right now. We can test for a variety of things, different substances. But we're also, we're seeing a uptick in different things coming in as well, as far as not only just substances that people are using like narcotics, but also hormone therapy that individuals are doing, so we can actually test liquids as well. Usually it's been focused on like pills and powders. We can't test flour. I know there's a conversation just about marijuana, fentanyl, marijuana. So we don't have the machines that we have don't have the capability of testing flour, but we can definitely test other substances as well. And that's part of the education that we provide for folks. Those are information that we give to our community partners as well, so they can understand what we're seeing out there as a community, so they can be aware of it as well.
I mean, if I was you, I would just shout that from the rooftops. I mean,
Yeah.
I personally know 3 people that died from fentanyl overdose. So.
Yeah, and we see it, we see people that are not necessarily using opiates, they're using other substances that are tainted with fentanyl. And we see that a lot, so that's a part of the education that we want to provide for individuals. We're in the job of keeping people alive and doing things as safe as possible. I understand your concern when you mention, an uptick in drug use because of Tapestry coming in. And we hear that argument at the time that we enable folks. And, people are going to make that decision on their own. What we try to do is empower people to make safer practices through that education, and minimize some harm that comes along with that. The testing services, making sure they know their status. If something does come back positive, we offer treatment for Hep C. If it a little more complicated as HIV, we connect folks to services, case management, or other resources out in the community. We're big on that collaboration too. We work with different entities throughout the state to provide those services. We work closely with Learn to Cope, that offers services for families struggling with somebody in their family that's using substances, and they it's a support group for that, help them navigate some of that conversation, some of those tough times as well, and the tough conversations to have with their families as well.
I know Jane wanted to make a motion, but Amy had indicated earlier that we have one board member who's not here this evening who had, I think, some pretty strong feelings about the program.
Yeah, I think based on what he's messaged me, that everything that you guys have talked about today should alleviate his concerns.
I did watch that meeting and listen, heard his concerns and do want to make it clear, like Hadley, residents are definitely.
I would just like to make one clarification so that everybody out that's watching understands that you do not condone drug use. You understand that people do it and you're trying to prevent that.
Yeah, definitely. And yes, and thank you for clearing that up. We don't condone it. We know it's a reality. It's been happening for beginning of time. And again, we're just trying to empower people to make safer practices through that. We're an established agency. We've been around for 20 plus years now.
50. Well, the agency
50. The agency has been around for 50. The service has been around for about 25 years now. And again, Liz kind of mentioned her trajectory here when she first started. I've been here for about 9 years now doing this work, but I've seen the growth. Not only in communities, in certain communities, but expanding, throughout the region here, in 3 different counties. We have 6 brick and mortar sites beginning in Greenfield, Northampton, Holyoke, Chicopee, Springfield, and Westfield. And we go into different communities providing our mobile services as well. So again, it's a reality that we head on. And we want to try to educate people on that and bring awareness to a lot of the stuff that's happening through all of that.
All right, Jane, you wanted to make a motion?
I move we accept the town grant.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Jane, seconded by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your time today. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see, land acquisition policy. It's the second review of the land acquisition policy. Any update, Mike, since our last, or Jennifer, sorry.
It's okay. I've been in contact with council asking about, y'all had inquired about the, if y'all could reserve the right to waive anything that was not required by MGL. I'm waiting for a response for them. So if we can, if you don't mind, please,
Okay, so we're gonna table this to the next meeting until we have
Yeah.
that response.
please.
We should have that answer.
DPW, annual town meeting warrant.
Okay. Based off of your vote tonight, you are discussing the HERO Act, which I've also put a placeholder on for. So with those, you're gonna have 30 warrant articles. I have cut those down quite a bit. We combined some of the APR articles to try to shorten it a bit. We are getting very close to needing to close the warrant. And so I'd like to go over everything this evening and see if y'all have questions or there you see additional changes that you would like.
Yeah, I think one of the things we wanted to talk about was the ordering of some of the articles.
I did rearrange it. I'm sorry, Amy.
I was just gonna say, can you remind me and us again why the APR ones can't be on a consent agenda? I forgot there, I know there's a law or something.
There is, and I cannot tell you off the top of my head why, but they do have to be like this. But
Okay.
town council did give us permission to combine the APR and TDR into one warrant article. So it'll be
Okay.
one warrant article instead of
Yeah, that'll be helpful.
two. So yeah, it drops you by 4 articles just right off the bat.
Okay,
I did put 2 of their other ones that I can into consent.
okay.
So going through then looking at this, you have your Article 1, which is for your annual town election. It does include the vote for the elected constables. To have them become appointed instead of elected. Then we have our usual suspects of the grants article, the Chapter 90, the short-term borrowing, and the contracts in excess of 3 years. These are all standard items on our warrants, and I believe they're pretty self-explanatory. We can jump in deeper at the public forum for the public. Water filtration membrane reserves. This is another always there warrant article. We can't put it on the consent because of the enterprise funds, if I understand correctly. Right now, we have no prior year invoices, but I always leave it there as a placeholder till the day before we close this. Article 8, we're working on. That is going to be where we do the rest of the salary changes to cover from last year when we did that big bulk and just dropped all of the funds into one account. This is where we're going to disperse it appropriately and also how we're going to handle the OPEB contributions for the FY26 budget. Article 9 will be approving the FY26 budget for the following year. And then Article 10 will be the same for the enterprise funds. The new things that are sort of not part of a regular agenda are the local options for meals. This is Article 11. Article 12 is the room, and Article 13 is the excise. We had inquired with town council because these are something that should be coming up in this year's legislative session, but they have not approved it at this time. So working with town council, we've put on that as soon as they accept it, the town of Hadley will already have accepted it and we'll be able to start collecting those funds right away. That's something I think that'll be helpful for the town as we're moving forward, increasing our receipts a bit. I am still waiting for Article 14, 15, and 16 from the planning board, but I think Jim mentioned 3 of the 4 or 3 of the committees he's on, so I think he's pretty busy.
We had a public hearing last night on this stuff, so I'm sure he's got to get it together for you.
I will look forward to it. So Article 17, y'all are actually discussing the HERO Act. I believe it's like the second agenda item down. I have put this on here as a placeholder in case you would like to go ahead and take it up. And Article 18 is a new one that we've just put on for municipal tax payment agreements bylaws. This is adopting a bylaw that sort of codifies what Linda already does. town council. The wording is coming straight from them. And this is their recommendation that the town adopts this.
And then the CPA.
And then we get into CPA, all of the consent agenda items, which is the Article 11 is the funds. Article 19 is an extension. And then all of the new articles they have for the deed, the cemetery fence, the North Hadley Village Hall bell, which I believe they're building an enclosure for up at the fire substation. This was something that was voted on by the select board a very long time ago. Golden Court's coming back for another project. I believe they did the windows last time and now they're doing the doors. And we have a church steeple for the First Church. And then we go into, I'm sorry, am I going too fast?
No, no.
And then we're going into the APRs. Y'all have 4 of them. As I said before, we did combine them. So you only have 4 instead of 8. The amounts are correct. Where they're coming from is correct. I have the votes for conservation and the CPA that I'll be putting in for your next meeting. So you can see the recommendations from the other boards. And then this Article 29 is a CPA bylaw change. And this is just correcting some of the things in their bylaws. It has been reviewed by council and approved, like they've approved everything that they have in there. And then that last one there is the new DPW building, Article 30.
Perfect.
And I'll add in an amount once we have that solid number. And that is your warrant.
Would, and I'm just asking the question,
Okay.
the 2 CPA articles that are on the consent agenda.
Mhm.
Would it be possible to move them to be right after the other 3 or 4 at the beginning of the warrant, just so that they're all together? Sometimes people get confused when it gets spread out all over the warrant.
Oh, right. You mean just ordering all consent agenda items?
Use one right
Yeah.
after the other.
I'm happy to do that.
I think that'll.
That's a
make
good
people
idea.
happy. Or
Sure, when you do that, you change their numbers so they are consecutive numbers. We're not looking at number 1.
Oh, no, of course. Yeah. No, absolutely. I will, we will flow in numerical
None of
order.
that has ever happened.
I feel it in my heart. This year is going to be the perfect, just slide right through.
Perfect.
We'll give it all to Mike for credit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Anybody wants to talk about the consent? Oh, excuse me, not consent, anything about the warrant right now?
It'll be
Good,
on
we're
there
good?
again. We'll be on there again
Yep.
next week and they probably when they close it.
Well, they're actually going to be really busy because they're going to need to close it. And
Have a by-board meeting as well.
it is a by board meeting, so you'll be making your sort of final decisions. And then I'm really sorry, but it is going to be very tight. So after you close the warrant, I'm going to need recommendations from y'all.
You mean our votes?
Yes.
Yep.
So that night we'll close it and we'll do your recommendations so that we're ready for the forum on the 23rd.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Hero Act. And Steve Connor's not here, I don't think.
I don't see him here.
See him here, I don't see your ghost here.
I know, I had made the appointment 2 weeks ago with them. He might have just missed it.
Okay,
I
mean,
I would
table it.
table it.
I think that's the best choice. Not a lot of communities, this is in reference directly to the HEROES Act. The HERO Act that Randy, you had asked us to
Yeah.
research, and we have done it, and you can read, there's some numbers there from Cheryl Holloway, our assessor. And nobody else has really adopted this yet.
Mhm.
So it might be that it doesn't make the warrant.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fine.
Okay, and then y'all can maybe take it up at special town meeting.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All
Okay,
right,
so then you're
over that.
down to 29 warrant articles.
New business item 6.2, the MVP, mass vulnerability, culvert grant assessment, and is Kayla,
Kayla
there's
is there.
Kayla.
Yep.
Hi, Kayla.
Hello, good evening, everybody. I'm here to, oh, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
I'm here tonight to ask for the select board support for an MVP grant application for culvert analysis and the drafting of a culvert prioritization plan. This is a project that's being developed by the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission and the 5 towns within the Fort River watershed, which includes Hadley, Amherst, Belchertown, Shutesbury, and Pelham. As a watershed-wide project with the goal being to increase infrastructure resilience to extreme weather events, particularly increase precipitation and flood events, and to increase aquatic connectivity between freshwater ecosystems that have been fragmented due to undersized culverts or culverts that are in poor condition or out of date. So the main strategy for the project would be to train municipal staff in performing aquatic connectivity and condition assessments on public culverts townwide, and enter this database into the North Atlantic Aquatic Connectivity Collaborative Database, or NAC. So the NAC database it's kind of like a centralized repository for culvert condition data across the region. And PVPC would also work with UMass to recruit students and other interested community members who would receive a stipend for performing fieldwork assessments, and they'd bring that data back, which would be entered into the database. So this data would then be used to determine higher priority culverts for replacement based on condition, ecological factors, road use, and other sorts of factors. And at the end of the project would be presented to the town as part of a prioritization plan for culvert replacement. Some logistics is that the lead applicant for the project is Amherst, and PVPC is acting as the grant manager, so they'll be handling the financial aspects of the project and funds distribution. What is being asked of each member town is to provide an in-kind match of staff time, aka my time, which would include attending partner meetings, which I've already been doing, getting trained on the NAC culvert assessments, which I have already partially completed, and then recruiting a community liaison who would be trained by PVPC and will spearhead a lot of the community engagement aspect of the project. And also liaise with DPW to provide updates on the project and ask for relevant resources when necessary. This is a project that is explicitly mentioned in the most recent hazard mitigation plan, I believe, as high priority. So I think it would be a great opportunity for the town to put our heads together and our resources together with our neighbors to address a topic that's become increasingly important as our infrastructure ages and as we continue to feel the effects of climate change. It also builds on existing digital infrastructure by using the NAC database to compile and analyze data. So everything's already it has a space for it. And it just makes it easier to access, streamlines the data analysis process. With the prioritization and plan in hand, the town is also set up for future success in grant applications by showing that the town has a plan for infrastructure updates and demonstrates the town's commitment to resilience projects. So what I'm asking tonight is your support in pursuing this project. And I believe there's a draft letter of support that has been shared with all of you in the board docs.
Yeah, nice work, Kayla.
Motion to approve the MVP letter of support.
Second.
Motion made by Randy, seconded by, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Good job, Kayla.
Yeah, we'll get this signed, Kayla.
Great, thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, employees' appointments and resignations. Lauren?
Good evening. Lauren Wilcox, the HR director. We have lots of changes. So first, the police department, we're asking for you to appoint Officer Gabriel Chambers effective April 12th. Council on Aging, Sandy Pearson as the permanent COA van driver effective immediately. And then the following resignations, Tom Quinlan as building commissioner effective April 4th. Jen Salfrank, our benefits coordinator, March 17th. And then Ian Wolcott effective April 4th, our wastewater treatment plant operator.
Okay. So can we pull out? Wait a minute.
So That's Gabe.
Well, yeah, wasn't he just up there?
Well, yeah, but he's working tonight, so.
Work there, right?
Yes, police escort over.
There's two
there.
of them.
He just got an.
No, I've been right.
All right, so I just want to pull Gabe out for a moment then. And on the others, motion to,
Motion to accept.
Second,
and yeah, so motion to accept Council on Aging appointment and the resignations.
Yeah.
Is that a second? Amy?
yeah,
Okay.
sorry. Yeah,
Motion made by Randy, seconded by Amy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I just want to, express appreciation for the folks who are leaving the town. And in particular, Tom Quinlan, Hadley resident, for the number of years of service that he's provided us. So wishing him well in his next endeavor. And then on to Gabriel Chambers. So does somebody want to say something about
Yep.
Gabriel?
So I have just a real short bio, Gabe, if you want to come up here. So Gabe Chambers is a Northampton resident and a 2023, you can sit right there, but graduate from Smith Voc, in their criminal justice program. Smith's criminal justice program certifies all their graduates as public safety dispatchers, which allow them to begin working for us as a dispatcher very shortly after he graduated. Gabe also enlisted in the Massachusetts Army National Guard in 2022, before he even graduated from high school. He attended his basic training in the summer of 2022 and his military police training in the summer of 23. Currently holds the rank of specialist, and he has been deployed stateside a number of times since his enlistment. In May of 2024, he started working as a public safety dispatcher for us. He is a phenomenal dispatcher. That's why I was a little bit worried that he was logged on over there, because he'd only be half listening to us. And he's really just a great all-around employee and a great person. He's very well liked by his peers, and upon having our most recent vacancy, several of our officers and dispatchers approached our leadership and recommended him to be hired. Since he is unable to purchase any alcoholic beverages for himself yet, and he is under 21, we actually had to acquire with the MPTC to see if we could even send him to the police academy that's coming up in July. They have confirmed that as long as he graduates at a point where he will be 21, then he will be fine to go to the academy, which does start July 14th. So he did apply for the open position that we had at the time. We now unfortunately are going to probably have 2 more. I wish we could hire 2 more people that are just like him, but we'll see what happens. So my recommendation would be to request that the select board appoints Gabriel Chambers as our newest full-time police officer.
so moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Amy, seconded by Jane. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome.
Gabriel, welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate it all of you guys, and I look forward to working with the town of Hadley further in the future.
Yeah, good. And no, the other officers are allowed to come into the room. I don't know why you're all standing.
It's not
Everybody can.
Yep.
It's a quiet night in the town.
And as,
Yeah.
Must be a pretty
That's a good
special
thing.
cargo if they need 3 of them to.
and as is common practice, we normally.
I'll do it too. I just. It's awkward.
Anything else, Lauren, on your?
Just wanted to add that all our vacant positions are posted on our website and Indeed, so anyone out there looking, feel free to apply.
Okay,
That's all.
notary discussion, notary services offered by the town of Hadley.
This is about.
So the town has recently lost several notaries. And there happens to be only one notary still in town hall or a town period who offers their services.
Who would that be?
It is a person that works in y'all's office who got her notary so that she could notarize y'all's work. that y'all, there's so many things the select board needs notarized. And so I did get my notary for that purpose expressly. Once it gets out, I'm notarizing everything. It's a very disruptive part of the day when there's only one person. So as part of this discussion, I mentioned to Mike, either we need more notaries or we need no notaries. So I did a lot of research on this to make sure that everybody had a full picture. I did a survey to a group that I belong to. And I've put all of it there for y'all to see. Every town that responded, or I could find online, all of their requirements are there. But in the course of that, a neighboring town actually said, you might want to check with Maya about this. They told us we weren't allowed to notarize for people anymore.
Oh, interesting.
So I threw that query out to the group, and a couple of people came back and they're like, yes, we were told that. A couple of other towns have chosen to insure their notaries to offer the notary service to the town or to town people. So Maya quoted several towns at $1,500 for a year to insure a notary. But I did include the information in there where they say that it's not a recommended service. To paraphrase very, very slowly. So I'm asking, by the way, we charge $1. It takes at least 15 to 20 minutes to notarize. It just.
Like a lot of places are 10, 15.
I mean, you can go to Florence Bank, it's $5.
Bank ESB will do it free, and Amy Biden has said that please send everybody down. She sees it as a potential customer.
Yeah, I didn't know that we did it for personal use. I thought it was town business. Anyway.
We limit what we do. We don't do deeds. We don't do mortgages. We don't do births, deaths. We don't do a lot of things. And if you bring a senior in and ask, I won't do anything for
Yeah,
you.
I think that this always used to be the town clerk's office that did it for forever. So did Jessica?
Jessica does not have her notary, and she does not want to notarize documents. And so Janice filled in for her, but with Janice's retirement, that leaves me. So if that is what y'all want me to continue to do, I will continue to do, but I do think that we'll need to take out an insurance policy on it to hold the town not liable. And but also the whole purpose of me ever having it was to notarize for y'all.
Yeah.
To do, not just y'all, to do town business is why I have it.
So we need to look for another person to be a notary. Oh, sounds to me like.
Well, if we want to offer it for personal use.
Even then, we need insurance.
Right.
Yeah.
And at $1,500, how much money do we typically take in per year? Which is it's $1 a piece, so I can figure out how many people come in based on dollars.
It costs $75 for y'all to pay for me to be a notary, and the town does pay for me to be a notary.
Yeah. And the
supplies.
How many
And the supplies.
How many customers?
I in
Typically.
maybe $45 in a year, maybe.
Okay, so 45 customers. And we gotta get $1,500 from insurance. So now we're paying, we gotta charge $30.
Now we've got to advertise our services.
Well, we gotta
Get
charge
traffic.
No, I don't think that's the
$30.
point. We don't want her to be doing it.
$30 a piece just to break even on the insurance, which doesn't count per time. I'm inclined.
I don't even think you can charge $30. I think municipalities are only, have a limit to what they can charge, and so you would never recoup the funds.
I'm inclined to say that notaries should be for town business only, and people can go to a bank. Or anywhere
I
else.
agree with that, based on the time that it takes
Mhm.
and whatnot, potential liability apparently.
And you're also asking her to, I've seen, she's told me some stories about some of the folks who come in, have things notarized, and you're basically asking her to be a detective. On
Yeah,
some
just,
situations where there's some weird stuff going on. So
I am not. Somebody came in recently with a wig, sunglasses, and no joke, a black trench coat,
Yeah.
and asked me to notarize something that was in the wrong name.
So,
And she trapped me, her and the two people trapped me behind my desk and got loud. So I'm not gonna pretend that I'm not thrilled to death that y'all are gonna do that. But if you wanted me to, I'd still do it. But
so we don't need to vote on this, right? We're just saying.
It's gonna be, well, it's gonna be a policy.
I mean, if we're changing, I think we should vote on it if we're changing
I agree.
Well, is there, do we advertise somewhere that we do this?
We don't, I did have,
Enough people know that it's done. I mean, I am one of the people who donates $2 or $3 a year to the general fund to get things notarized. So
I think you
So
should make
fancy
that.
as me.
As the 5% people that do.
I will make a motion that we do not allow notaries in town hall to conduct private business.
For-
Just
yeah,
for
for-
town purposes only.
Town purposes only, I think that's good.
I'm good with that.
You good enough to second it?
I'll second that.
All right, motion made by
I'm
Randy,
good.
seconded by Amy. All those in favor?
Aye.
thank you all.
You are welcome.
Aye.
Child Abuse Awareness Proclamation.
Is this just, this is just approving the.
This is just,
future? They don't have to read it today. We read it on the day of the proclamation, right?
this is just approving the proclamation.
So we do this annually. We used to do a flag raising, but we changed the policy on the flag situation. So essentially, this is just, kind of making the announcement that anybody that wants to come on April 4th at Town Hall, we will do our annual proclamation for Child Abuse Awareness Month.
Okay, and that's at 10 o'clock.
It's at 10 o'clock and we will be recruiting hopefully the chair or some other member of the select board who wants to do it.
Chair has already been recruited.
Spectacular to read the proclamation. We will have members of our local child abuse advocacy center there to help us get through. And I believe there'll be members of Bikers Against Child Abuse, BACA, who come almost always. There are several of whom are residents in Hadley. So it'll be a
Great.
good little event as usual.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion made by Jane, seconded by Amy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, town administrative report.
Okay, the first item here I added as miscellaneous. It does kind of fall within the realm of the position situation. Park and Rec has a vacancy, be one of the 3-member commission, and they would like to fill it next meeting because that is normally an elected position and would have a normal election process, and it is outside of that process. The correct way to approach this is for Park and Rec and Select Board to have a meeting together and take a vote. They, I believe, have already found somebody who is willing to step into that role, so they will bring them for our next meeting, and we'll just take that up as a normal, normal agenda item. None of the positions for the interview process have changed, except for we're now looking for a dispatcher, since you just appointed one of my dispatchers to a police position, so we're gonna backfill that role. And obviously the building commissioner is on for resignation tonight. Your compensation succession report, the final draft is complete. We've gone over it with Mary, and she will be at the 4/16 meeting to review it with the board. We will be, I will be sending out probably within the next couple of days an email. We were just really trying to get past a lot of the budget situations before we call all the IT folks and get everybody together for a full meeting about the fiber. So there's no technical change on that yet, but it will be happening very soon. Let's see. The Russell School reuse study, we'll be meeting with Jake on Friday. He'll be reviewing with us the draft report, and we'll decide how and when we will get that in front of the select board after that. Town Hall HVAC, it did come back over budget. That part hasn't changed, and Jennifer has worked with the state and the vendor, and we're waiting for those contract documents to come back. No change on the levy. We're still waiting for numbers from Woodard and Cohen. TA search, we've had a couple of TA committee meetings so far, and we have interviews set up for next week. No changes on the library roof and no changes on negotiations. We're in the same place, almost done. We'll be giving you a update in executive session tonight as to where we're at on negotiations. We still have a couple of minor issues to handle that we can go over later. That's all we have for today.
Okay, any questions for Mike? Then, any liaison reports or announcements this evening? I've got two for announcements. With the town election coming up, the last day to turn in papers was yesterday, so checked in with the town clerk today. It appears that there will be two contested races. So there are two select board seats up, and there are three candidates interested. And then for the planning board has a 5-year seat, which is uncontested, but there is a 1-year seat that is contested, and there are two candidates for that seat. So people should, pay attention to that. And then probably most importantly, no one has taken out papers for a position on the Hadley Housing Authority. So if there is anyone out there who might be interested in finding out more about the role of the Housing Authority, they can certainly get contact information and talk to folks currently filling those positions. But it would definitely be great to get somebody to do a writing campaign at this point then, if they're interested in being on the ballot. And then no, go ahead.
No, I thought you were finished.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, we wanted to express condolences to Kathy Tudornan family on the passing of her sister Peg. Anybody that knew Peg, she was a force to be reckoned with, and an incredible person and volunteer for the town of Hadley in particular. So just wanted to send Kathy the well wishes of the board at this time.
Climate Change is having the annual Hadley Cleanup Day meeting at Hopkins at 8:30 on Saturday, the 12th.
Anything else? So it looks like we do have two executive sessions this evening, one of them planned and one of them that had not been anticipated. That was just posted this afternoon. So,
So
Amy,
I'll make a motion that we move into executive session pursuant with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body. This will be for the compensation study, the municipal employee union, firefighter union, police union, dispatch union, DPW union, and the executive session minutes quarterly review, as well as the item that had not been anticipated 24 hours or 48 hours in advance. And that would be in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel for the town administrator. And we will not be reconvening an open session today.
Second.
yeah, as chair of the Hadley Select Board, I state that the board has moved and seconded to enter into executive session. And I state that discussing these matters in open session would have a detrimental impact on the bargaining position of the town of Hadley. Jennifer, roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Isaac,
Yes.
Keegan,
Yes.
Nevin Smith,
Yes.
and Parsons.
Yes.
Good night, everybody.